Good morning, fish keepers. Cam here from thefishroom.co.nz, and we've done it. We've done it. We've done it. We've made it through to another Friday. Not only have we made it to a Friday, we've made it to a Friday of a long weekend. Yes. Except I didn't realize it was a long weekend until half an hour or so, an hour ago, when the missus told me. So good times. Oh, it's hot. Oh, that one's really hot. Not so good, but nice and hot. Okay, so as I've obviously just said, it's a long weekend this weekend. It's Labour weekend, which means that we are closed on Monday. We're not open on public holidays, and this Monday is a public holiday, so we will be closed. The flip side, or the positive side to this, is because it's a long weekend, I thought, let's do a long weekend sale. So we've got a complete store-wide sale going on at the moment. We're running from right this very moment until Monday midnight. I went blank for a second then. Monday midnight. So we have 20% off store wide, absolutely everything. It is in the shop, in store, and online. Is available with 20% discount. They should all be ready to rock and roll right now. So that's where we're at with that, because it is a long weekend. Let's celebrate. A nice and simple one. 20% off all round. So some updates from within the building here. The tanks at the back. Good morning, Gary. How you doing, buddy? The tanks at the back that we have been wanting to cycle for, we've been trying to get cycled for quite some time. For the best part, they are all now cycled, and they're all also up to temperature. So we're sort of short of a few heaters, so did a little bit of wiggling around, jiggling around, got a few more. And so now we've got everything we need heated, and we've got them all, majority of them cycled. So I will begin looking at fish lists to purchase different fish to begin stocking in. As we were in the last shop, we'll get the fish in, we'll hold them for another couple of weeks, and then we will move them onto the sales floor. So it might be another 3, 4, 5 weeks until we have some fish ready for sale, but we can begin that process basically, hopefully next week coming up. So if there is anything that anybody is after, please send us a message. There's already a few people that have listed a few fish they want us to get for them. So if you're looking for something and it's available, I'm more than happy to bring them in for you. There's no issues there whatsoever. So you're happy to do that. But yeah, as I've got my fingers very tightly crossed, we might have some fish in the building at the end of next week. And then we'll do our normal holding period. Probably look at holding them back for a little bit longer than 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, or possibly a little bit longer. But we'll see how we go. Also, our microworm cultures are absolutely cranking at the moment. Like, they're going absolutely bonkers. So if you are in the market or require some microworms, now is an absolutely phenomenal time to buy some off us. So we've got a couple cultures going, and they are just loving life right now. The whole top is just a wiggly, squiggly little mess of microworms. So definitely good value in buying microworms at the moment if you're in that market or require some at the moment. And of course, they've got 20% off as well. So it's going to help you as a wee bonus as well. The O'Crack tanks, put a couple more species into them yesterday. So the blue hydrophilia that we put down is going really well. It's all beginning to stand up and look very strong. The ambulia that we put down was the 5th of October we put these plants down. So the ambulia that we put down, a couple of them have rotten off and moulded, and the others are beginning to look quite nicely. So it's a little learning curve. I was expecting some sort of rot and some sort of mold to happen. So it's part and parcel of it. But I did move a couple around a little bit, and the ones that I did pull out of the soil and put back in were beginning to grow roots. So that's also a really good start. Yesterday we put in some Ludwigia, and there was another species. What was it? Another stem plant as well. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. So we've got 4 stem plants, 4 of the more common stem plants that we are now hopefully growing. Hopefully in a couple of months' time they'll be nice and bushy. Be able to trim them, replant them, and get some nice growth going on, so I don't make too many mistakes. Hence the crack tanks. All going to plan. Should have some hair grass and some chainsword put into them as well very soon. we sell a lot of hair grass, we sell a lot of chainsawed, and every now and then we make mistakes and don't order enough or what have you. So just to have these under control, have these settled here, so mistakes don't happen will be good. We've got the stock ready to go. I just need to work out what media I'm going to grow them in. I think the potting mix will go just fine. I'm a little bit worried about if I'm to take the hair grass or the chainsaw or whatever it is out of the potting mix and there's dirt going into your aquarium that might cause little algae issues or maybe a soil-based pathogen or something going in from the soil into your water. So that was my concern why I haven't used soil. I was looking at maybe some little small river stones or something similar to that, and then maybe a heavily liquid fertilized water going on top of that. Whereas with the stem plants, obviously they're growing in the soil and out of the soil, you can cut them, or we cut them as a stem, so that soil isn't going to be going into your aquarium, so there wasn't as much of an issue or any issue at all there. So it might be just a little bit of river gravel which I've got hanging around. See how well we can make that sort of damp for the hair grass, or maybe some small pebbles or some hydroponic substrate, something like that, so it comes off clean. But that's kind of where I'm playing around with that at the moment. Yeah, Dalton's aquatic mix is really good, Gary. It's actually a really fantastic growing media as long as you cap it well and as long as you aren't pulling any of your soil up. What I found with Dalton's in a immersed setup is that if you don't keep it wet, it goes really hard like clay, and then it doesn't allow the growth properly. But when it's kept underwater, obviously stays nice and wet, and that's not much of an issue. But yeah, I totally agree. It is really good. I've had really good results with Dwarf Sagittarium cryptocorynes growing that just that with capped with sand, and it's worked incredibly well. Like the plants, those particular plants get everything they need from their root base with that product. So I agree. It is a really good product. So the other little immerse setups that we're playing around with, which were the Java moss and originally the Rickia moss. The Rickia dried off. I think the lighting above it is possibly a little bit too strong. So we took out the Rickia and put in Java fern. The Java fern as well has also dried off. Interesting enough, in the same container, one's dried off in that, but the other one's fine. So the Java moss itself is going really, really well. I might take a photo for it later. You can definitely see new growth, new shoots coming out of it. So that seems to have settled in and begun growing nicely. I've also observed that towards the back of the tub, so like here's the front, here's the back, this back area here seems to be drying out a lot quicker than the front. I'm not sure if the tub itself is slightly on an angle, so more of the water is pooling at the bottom, keeping this end more moist than that end. But I definitely noticed that this particular edge has begun drying off a little bit quicker. It could also be that the light is more situated back, so I think the light is a little bit too strong. But we'll see. I might have a wee fiddle around. It doesn't look like the water's pooling too much at the bottom, but we might be talking about a millimetre difference here. Might be enough to get enough moisture to the front, not enough to the back. So, just a couple of observations that I've noticed in that as I've been playing around with that. I have removed the Java fern and I've put in some peacock moss. So we've got Java moss and peacock moss going in the same sort of situation, same sort of growth style. So as long as the peacock moss holds and takes and doesn't dry off, hopefully we can start supplying some peacock moss around as well, which is nice because it's not all that common here. So fingers crossed that goes okay. And that means we would have unlocked the powers of some mosses. My next thing that I've written down here is light test, but I'm not quite sure what that means. Who knows what I write sometimes. But also upcoming, the good people at Inkbird decided to send us a temperature controller for our heaters. In return, I've obviously got to do a video and a bit of review of it. So that'll be something upcoming. I've personally never used the Inkbird heater controllers. I know plenty of people that have, so I'm very interested to see how that goes for myself. Luckily enough, we've got a couple of tanks that sit side by side, so I can plug just a normal heater in, and I can plug one into the Inkbird and see how many fluctuations and how many sways there are. So I'm quite looking forward to having a play around with that. So thank you to the people at Inkbird If it goes okay and it passes some tests, we might look at stocking some of their range as well. Like I said, a lot of people do use them. If they do hold temperature, or hold the thermostat just how it's meant to, that'll be wonderful. So we can give that one a go. So throughout the course of this week, I've finished setting up the last wooden rack that we had already set up out the back. So it's a rack of 9 wooden ones. So they've all got their filters into it now. They've all got the heaters going into it. So most of them are cycling, not all of them, because I thought of a very cool idea like yesterday. So I've taken a couple of the tanks off cycle, and I'm going to fiddle around with some products like stability and cycle, and maybe even some quick start or something like that. We don't carry quick start at the moment, but might get involved as well and see if their claims of cycling aquariums work and how well they work and the speed that they work. I might also try and get hold of a couple of people that are in the know about the bacteria that are used in there and how exactly they work. So to get a really good idea on those biological bottled products and whether they work or not. And if they do work, how they work, and if they don't work, why don't they work? And of course, if they don't work, then if we stock them, we won't be stocking them anymore. So that's a little upcoming project that I've got rocking and rolling at the moment as well. So we'll see how long that one takes to progress. And the last thing that I've got on my little notebook is that today is I guess you can call it the second Friday of the cycle. It's the Friday we don't have our guest on, which means today is podcast Friday. So in probably a couple of hours' time, when the edit's finished of the podcast, we will have another podcast release to come out. So that should be a good piece there. It'd be nice to listen to on the long weekend. So that is pretty much what I have today. So it's a bit of a short and sweet one. I think we've got something pretty sweet lined up for next week, all going to plan, just waiting to make sure everything is confirmed. Again, we're normally dealing with international time zones and where people are, and most people we talk to seem to be available later at night, which can make it a little bit difficult. But fingers crossed, all going to plan. We're just waiting for confirmation that we will be good for our guests for next week, which I'm quite looking forward to. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag on this one just yet. So that's what we've got. I hope everybody has a really good long weekend. Enjoy the time with your family. Enjoy the time with your aquariums. And, enjoy your day off work. All right, Tim, have a good one. Happy fish keeping. Catch you later.